Well, I'm really pleased to have another opportunity to be part of this ongoing discussion of the Parashiot and updated and new and improved, briefer, more incisive, one hopes, and even perhaps easier to take in. I've chosen for this particular session to talk a little bit about an enormous section of Torah, vitally important one, Yitro, Jethro in English, Yitro, the father-in-law of Moses, and I just want to focus on two modest items as opposed to what clearly is the big deal. Everyone who has a familiarity at all, it includes the Ten Commandments. But rather than simply saying, wow, isn't that vital and here's why, I remember as a child giving a talk on the Ten Commandments and saying, thou shalt not steal means you shouldn't take something that doesn't belong to you. From this, a brilliant career was being formed. But in terms of small items that have perhaps deeper implication, I want to focus on just two. One, the name is consequential. It's named after, at least if one takes it from its on face value, a non-Jew. Such a critical section. I suspect to put an exclamation point, an emphasis on one of the deep, great contributions of our tradition to all the world, and certainly to all world conversation about religion. Namely, you don't have to be in a particular club, in one specific group, to have a relationship with the God of all groups, with the Rabbano Shel Ha'olam. If I had written the Torah, I may very well have written it differently. Of course, you got to be in my group. We're better than everybody else. We've got a monopoly on deity. But that's not the way it works, not at least in terms of the awesome capacity of this document, of these texts, to touch us in awesome and remarkable ways. All people may be connected to the Holy One. That's item one, and perhaps most critical of all. Item two, and I mean this to be more than just a perhaps cute suggestion. Moses and Jethro may be responsible for one of the particular trends that's sweeping the world even today, and that is the rise of consultants. You could frame Yitro as the first consultant in world history. To wit, he arrives with Moses' daughter and his two sons, Jethro's grandsons, after they've come out of Egypt near the mountain of God, and he sees Moses spending all day judging the people, exhausting himself, every issue being brought to his attention. No doubt most people would have been, if they were in Jethro's position, going up to Moses and say, Moshe, you got to spend more time at home. You got to spend more time with the kids. They need your influence. And Moshe would have said, you're absolutely right, and nothing would have changed. That's the usual way such things happen, especially in families. You're right, I ought to do something about it, and we don't. Instead, Yitro, I think, offers us a remarkable insight. What's Moses' agenda? His agenda, Yitro's, is to get Moses to spend more time at home. But Moses' agenda? To get the people judged. He responds to Moses' need in order to get his issue done, namely that there perchance is a chance for Moses to have more time at home. I find it instructive in the following lesson that I draw from it. Do we want to be right or do we want to be effective? And perhaps the most effective way is not just simply to assert, this is our agenda, this is what I want, but how do I meet the other's agenda? From that, you might not just build a career as a consultant, you might build a capacity to be a true mensch, a person of real quality and caring, one for whom maybe a little bit of the divine just shows through.